Okay, it's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Agenda has been provided for the meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I do not have any additions or corrections, just to note that Nick Bergman is joining for the transportation funding resolution discussion.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, we have approval of the consent agenda, which includes minutes of March 12th, 2019, approval of auditor warrants of 3/15/19, 3/22/19, and approval of hospital warrants, amount of $626,308.66.
Here, I'd move for approval.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next up, we have Renee Shook, Veteran Services Officer. Good morning.
Good morning. I am requesting permission to attend an ACVSO conference in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the annual conference for CVSOs and an opportunity to learn about programs and new laws that might have been passed within the last year. And it's an opportunity to learn about them firsthand right away, rather than hearing it through the grapevine or waiting until another conference within the state to learn about them. So it's a good opportunity to get the knowledge right away, as well as an opportunity to network with other CVSOs, to build relationships and make sure that I have those relationships so I can use them as allies if I need assistance with something.
Absolutely. Is there a motion to accept?
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we accept the out-of-state travel request for Renee.
Okay.
I'd second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
The acronym, obviously, it's Veteran Service Officers, and it's National Association
Yes.
of County.
Yes. So it's national. It hosts all CVSOs within the United States.
I just wanted to comment, I think it's a good idea too. I think you've taken away a lot from the last year's conference. Even in the past 2 months, I've heard numerous comments on the job that you're doing, and that a lot of people have received more help from you than they've received from 2 previous VSO officers. I think you're doing a fantastic job, and we appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have the Transportation Funding Resolution 59-12-19. Is Nick, you presenting that?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about it anyway.
Okay.
I believe I got the same resolution actually through the County Engineers Association, and when I was looking at the agenda, I saw it here and wanted to talk to Steve about it. He's not available right now. But when I was doing some research for this, I talked to a neighboring county engineer, and he told me he's going to modify their resolution to say that they support increased funding for this, but they think it should go into the Highway User Tax Distribution Fund, or he wants to specify that. I think that's a good idea, because so they don't carve pieces out of that and fund stuff like corridors of commerce, and then, you know, everything stays up by Metro. Might not do any good, but I would recommend adding that wording to it. Also, it didn't look like this resolution, from what I was told, is like pressing. So if adding that additional language is something you guys are interested in, I would recommend tabling it for a week or so until I can talk to Steve to make sure he wasn't told something that I wasn't told, you know, and then.
Now, it mentions that Highway User Tax Distribution Fund in there. But
I have a copy of it. But did it say exclusively that?
it does not say exclusive.
Yeah, so I I think the push was to specify that that's where it all goes, not some there and then, they can carve some out for corridors of commerce and stuff like
Exactly.
that, so. If it went through as, proposed, as modified, I should say, it would guarantee, or whatever you want to call it, a little bit more, for us. It would, the user tax fund, that's the formula for how it all gets distributed to all the counties, so. So that's just my 2 cents. If that's something you'd be interested in, I would recommend tabling it for a week or so until I can get a little bit more on it and possibly modify it.
Do you think other county, or, besides the one you talked to, are gonna be doing that, or?
I don't know. I'd actually talked to Murray County. I needed to talk to him about the possibility of them plowing our County Road 3 up to that posted bridge. It's like 3/4 of a mile, and they're turning around right before it anyway, so. I talked to him about that, to see if that would be an option if we needed it, and then we got on this topic, so I know that he's gonna do that. He's gonna recommend modifying it, so.
Sure.
But as far as anybody else, I don't know. We might be the only two in the state that would do it, but
Or maybe it's something we should explore through AMC if they'd be open to, making that adjustment.
yeah, I don't know how all that works, but
And it would give us time to talk to neighboring counties too, if they'd be willing to sign on that way too.
Right.
I agree.
yeah.
It'd probably carry more weight if you could get more counties to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
I know as a committee for transportation through AMC, they've always wanted to shy away from those words constitutionally dedicated and stuff like that, or exclusively, because they always felt there was too much teeth into it and the likeliness for it to fail was greater. So that's why they always tried to adopt a little looser verbiage in it. But
Okay,
Right. There is that risk.
right.
okay.
So
Well, I don't know what, if you guys want to just go ahead as it's written, that's fine too. It's just something that
I don't
was
see.
brought to my attention and I thought made sense, so I thought it was worth talking about.
Well, I don't see why we can't table it and talk to Steve about it, and AMC likewise. Get some more opinions on it in other counties, like you had mentioned.
Yeah, there wasn't a deadline, they wanted it back, the sooner the better, but I think that was just to get people to do it and not let it sit and forget about it, so. I don't remember seeing any type of deadline on it, but see what it hurt waiting another week, so.
Right.
So, that's just my 2 cents on it, so.
We'll just table that for another week's discussion, all right? Thank you.
Fine.
All right. All right, well, that's all I had, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you, Nick.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda, we have Tyler Reich, Auditor Treasurer at 9:30, and he is not present. Kathy would be willing to move up personnel at this time?
Sure. Yep, I have a few items to go over for personnel. So, the first item for the board is I do have another letter of resignation for approval, and Bob Koiker, who is the mechanic in the highway department, will be resigning effective April 4th. So I do need approval of his resignation, and then we plan to advertise right away to replace for that position.
Mr. Chair, I'll move that we accept the resignation letter then of Bob Koiker, effective April 1, you said?
April 4th.
April 4.
I would second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Is there any other further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you. Then I have the engineering aid job description, which was part of the board packet. So we have an open engineering technician position in the highway department. It's been open for a while now, just with Jared's move to assistant engineer and just the domino effect that happened there. Just with discussing through several counties about the difficulty recruiting some of these positions and finding people with 2-year civil engineering tech degrees. We would like to have the option to hire an aide and kind of build them into the tech position. So basically what the plan would be is we would advertise for both. So if we get candidates that fit the tech position, great, we can hire them in. That way, they already have the civil engineering degree. If we don't get somebody, but we feel they have potential to grow into the position, then we can hire them in as an aide. So what we did was we developed this job description. It's very similar to the engineering technician job description, other than, it's more of assisting with some of the duties and responsibilities. They're more in like an assistant learning role, more so than the lead on some of these duties of the job, and also the basic qualifications. We'd like somebody with some education. It doesn't necessarily have to be directly in the civil engineering technology field. But again, that's a desirable requirement. It's not necessarily, the basic minimum qualifications. So we would look at a combination of education and experience we feel would be able to bring them into the position. So what I'm requesting today is approval of this job description, the engineering aide. I do need to get it scored. I anticipate it being a lower pay range than the engineering tech. And, once the person meets the qualifications, has all the DOT certifications that they need, has a couple years of experience, they would move up into the engineering tech role. And again, we may be able to hire someone just as a tech right off the bat, but this gives us a little more options of hiring for this position.
Do they need to have additional schooling to qualify for that tech position, or is the experience alone?
If they had, it sounds like if they had like 2 years of direct experience in the office, in addition to these MnDOT certifications, that would be enough for them to be a tech. Yep.
Mr. Chair. Kathy, we let Nick go. You've had discussions with him about it. Would this leave a void for him to have an aide versus a tech, or did he think this was a good approach as well?
Yeah, he is very supportive of this. This was kind of his idea, honestly, because just from hearing from other counties how difficult it has been to recruit for that tech position.
Sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The scoring of the compensation study, is that something you do internally, or you have to farm that out?
No, I have to send it to our comp consultant, and then he'll send back his recommendation. So that will likely, hopefully, come back to the board next week on where to place that on the pay plan. So.
Very good.
Thank you. We're looking for a motion then to accept the engineering aide position. Is that what you're asking for?
Yes.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Do you need any action on the?
Well, I would say included in that motion, just allowing me to send it to our compensation consultant for scoring.
No, I don't think you need our permission to do that. That's part of your normal duties.
Yep.
That has to be done.
Yep.
Okay, and then one more recruiting item. So we are filling a highway maintenance worker position right now, and we've interviewed several candidates. We have a candidate that we really like, and he has 5 years of experience with Martin County. So he has direct county experience, which is very valuable to the highway department, and just like we feel he would be a good fit for the department as well. And I did pass out the pay plan this morning. We're looking at hiring him in higher than step 2 because of his experience. And he currently makes $23.38 an hour. I'm proposing that we pay him $21.53 just to get him on a pay plan without, without leapfrogging some of our current employees as well. He's been made a contingent offer, and he said he would accept it at that rate, and I told him it just needed to be brought to the board for approval for that rate before it's official. So I would be seeking board approval to hire this candidate at $21.53 per hour, step F on the highway maintenance worker pay scale.
Mr. Chair, I'd make that motion.
Yep, and I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
This individual's experience elsewhere was both as mechanic as an operator as well.
Not a mechanic, so he would be in as the highway maintenance worker. So he was a truck operator and motor grader operator there. So he's actually familiar with both, which is nice as well.
Yeah, but the position he'll be filling here will be,
It's both,
Yes.
the truck operator and motor grader operator, so, and just other general equipment as well, like payloader and everything.
They used to farm around here.
Yeah, yep, I'm familiar with them too, so. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then just one more note. So we have another highway maintenance worker position open. I think Steve reported last week that Nate Stoll is moving up to the assessor's office into that role. So we are going to be looking to re-advertise for that. So if you see that in the paper as well. So we're going to be looking at, filling 3 positions right now in the highway department. So the mechanic, another highway maintenance worker, and then this engineering tech or aide. So,
Okay. All right, thank you.
great, thanks.
Anybody else have any more questions for Kathy? Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, moving back up the agenda, we have Tyler Reich. Are you prepared to go in closed session now, or
I can, yeah. I know Domain's not here, but
who are you waiting for?
Domain.
Domain.
Oh, okay.
It's up to you guys. We can
Might
start the
wanna
conversation. If you want to wait for him, we can at that point. Up to you guys.
I would rather wait.
Yeah, let's take a recess then until 9:30,
Yeah.
and we'll reconvene 9:30. It's not a bad idea,
When I
too.
told him about it, he's like, I'll try to remember.
Okay, it's 9:27. We'll reconvene since all parties are present. We have Auditor Treasurer Tyler Reich, we have pending litigation that we're looking to go into closed session for.
Yes.
Time I'll accept it.
I'll move we go into closed session.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We're in closed session. Kathy, do we need to cut that in audio?
Closed session won't do much good.
Closed session, public.
We still have donuts left.
Okay. Reconvene our regular meeting, and next up we have Tyler Reich, Auditor Treasurer for Residential Home Abatement for Betty Kramer, and we're selecting a public meeting date. Is that what it is?
No, we're actually having the hearing itself
yeah,
at
okay.
9:45, so we should
Oh.
probably wait 3 minutes. I'm assuming
wait
no one's
3
gonna show
minutes.
up, but yeah.
Mr. Chair, if we can, while we wait those 3 minutes, any update on our tax forfeit property that we're dealing with?
I had a feeling you were gonna bring that up. No, I'm kidding. I wanted to talk about it too. So as everyone's aware, the back roof of the movie theater has collapsed due to all that rain last week. It was it happened, I think it was Tuesday morning, honestly, because I went to work, it was up. I came back from lunch, it was down. So,
Gotta watch it that day, too.
yeah, it's just the west side currently. Obviously, I look at it pretty much every day, and it looks like it's starting to go a little farther, but those other steel beams look like I don't think it's going to do a lot of damage to the neighboring wall by the time that we actually get the construction done. So that's kind of what happened. The east or the west wall is still standing. It hasn't affected the garage. I don't know if it's just that tin that's holding it up or what. I was kind of surprised. But I will say I'm still getting in touch. 2 people have still been contacting me. Actually, with the original person, another individual has contacted me several times wondering when the auction will be. I told them about the roof collapse, everything. They said, yep, we're well aware of it. so on and so forth. So I think there is some interest, and once we get that work done, after Centerpoint finally gets the gas meter out of there, I think it will sell. So I don't know when Centerpoint's going. They said that they were waiting for snow. Obviously, the snow is dissipating very rapidly, so they could be in there this week, it could be next week, so on and so forth. So
I guess the only thing in their defense, there is still frost in the
correct,
ground.
exactly, and I understand that, and I'm not trying to push them. I mean, obviously, the snow is gone at this point. We shouldn't really have what we were worried about has already happened.
Yep.
So
There wasn't any snow or frost when they were contacted originally.
this is very true.
That's
This is
valid
very
point.
true.
I think they're pathetic.
Yep.
Yeah.
They wanted that extra money, and
As far as a
They really put us in a bind.
supplier
here.
for the city of Pipestone, I would certainly look at them and say, gee, isn't there somebody out there that can provide better service than that?
so yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Waiting on them. As soon as it gets capped, we're gonna get in touch with Double D again. I believe I had a brief discussion with Wayne on getting in touch with him to see if there's any change in the estimate, so on and so forth, especially since it's collapsed. And we'll just kind of bring it back at that point. And then once we know for a fact that the work will be done, it's only gonna take a couple days. I'm gonna start advertising it instantly so that we can get this thing a couple weeks quicker and get the thing sold. So as soon as I know that Double D is gonna come in there, they're gonna have the work done, I'm gonna start advertising it, because it's gonna have to be in the paper for 30 days. They have to hop through all those hoops with the state statutes. So try to get it done as quickly as possible. I know that those two buyers are itching to get it, so we'll see. Well, they call me on the phone, they sound like they are. So I think it will be sold. So,
That's great news.
yep.
Well, it's prime time.
Yeah.
It's coming into spring.
Exactly. So.
We were obviously very fortunate that when it did come, it did not damage that bakery wall at all. So
Correct.
That was my big concern.
Yes, luckily the correct side, if you're gonna have a side collapse, it was the correct side, so.
All right, it is 9:45, so.
Okay.
This-
All right, want to move forward with Betty Kramer?
Okay.
All right, so this is a normal home initiative abatement for Betty Kramer. Again, this is the house that burnt down on North Highway 75. And we're looking for the estimated abatement total for the 3 years is $2,983. So I'm just seeking approval for the actual abatement itself. I can answer any questions if you do have any.
If I have any questions, I guess I'd move to approve the request.
Okay, and I'll second your motion.
Okay, we have a motion second. Is there any other further discussion? Okay, if not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Did
gentlemen.
they indicate when they're going to start? Are they going to have?
They haven't. Obviously, they were very weather related. It's still kind of crappy out, to be honest with you. So as soon as they can, they obviously they wanted to wait until after this, but they said that this wasn't going to be a problem. So I would assume in the next week or two they'll probably break
Are they doing
ground.
a stick built this time, or is it going to be brought in as a pre-built home? I don't.
I believe it's being stick built, but I'm not positive.
Not that it makes any difference.
No, I'm actually not positive on that. I forget, they told me who was building it, but I can't remember, 'cause it was over a month ago, but I'm not, I guess I can't say, so.
I was just curious, I see that this whole policy that we have expires at the end of the year, it looks like.
Correct.
If we wanted to extend that, what do we have to do?
I believe all we have, I guess on the legality of it, I'm assuming all we have to do is just extend the end date that was passed in the original, I think it was by resolution. I guess I'm not positive how this gets approved, or
I mean,
if
is
it's
it
just a
something we have to
board.
provide notice and do all that, or can we just do it if we want to?
Brief me quick.
Currently, this whole abatement policy, is for a 3-year period.
Correct.
We wanted to extend that and continue to offer it going forward.
You're going to have to follow the formality.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into it, but
But did we have a public hearing when we did the original abatement, or was that just by
I don't
motion?
think so. I think just by motion.
By
I thought it was by
motion.
motion, yeah.
we can look into that for you.
I mean, to set up the policy, we had a hearing though, I think.
I don't know if we did or not. I don't remember. remember that we had.
I know it.
I
We talked
I
about
wasn't
it
even
several
involved in that
months.
aspect of it.
I don't remember if we did or not.
That
was a while ago.
I'm
We can, I
guessing-
mean, we can look through the minutes. I mean, we can easily figure out if it was passed by resolution or if we had a public hearing or so on and so
If we
forth.
decide we want to continue it again in the future, that's something we'll have to talk about, but
Right.
Yep.
I guess that's what I was just curious.
Yep.
we'd set it up for 3 years and just seeing if we thought it was worthwhile, and I think it's good. I don't think it's hurt the county any. Some of them are coming online as far as taxes soon.
This year, this is the first year where, I think we, off the top of my head, I want to say it's 5 to 8 or so, or have all the value on the property. So, they'll be starting their abatements for pay 19.
I think I've been hearing about 5 to 6 new homes in the Edgerton area this summer.
Yeah, just make sure that, obviously,
Well, I'm gonna stop there this afternoon and remind them in City Hall that,
Yep.
the last one, they did a twin home and they didn't even get the credit.
correct, yeah, yep. Obviously, we've denied a couple in the past because they break ground before they apply. And we have to hold firm on that. I mean, that's just, it says it in the policy.
No reason why they didn't. They
Exactly.
easily put the
Yep.
paperwork in.
So, I know Planning and Zoning and Pipestone knows about it. I've told the city of Edgerton about it, so, everybody has the applications or they know where to acquire them, so. All right, anything else?
No, thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Have a good day.
Thanks, and you. Okay, that concludes everything on our agenda. Is there any other business come before the board today? Not, I'll entertain. Thank you.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. We stand adjourned. Thank you.